that there are younger women at the moment that won't put themselves forward for ordination because there are not women bishops at the moment, and they don't feel that they can offer themselves to a church that actually doesn't accept the full ministry of women.
And have you come across some of these women yourself?
I've heard people talk about their daughters and say, my daughter wouldn't dream of becoming a priest at the moment because of this.
And what about worshippers generally? Do you think some people don't go to church because they believe the church discriminates against women?
I think there's some evidence for that. I mean, I don't know that there's been any, specific research done in that area, but I would think that it's quite likely that there are some people that would find it difficult to belong to a church that does openly discriminate. So, I very much hope that next summer that the General Synod will vote through the legislation that's before it, because I think actually, that everybody's worked so hard to try to find a middle path, and it's costing on both sides. And I think we all want to reach out to each other and remain as one church. So my hope is that we'll make the step. It'll be done with enthusiasm, but we'll continue to care for those who do find it difficult. And I think we need to take a leaf out of the book of some of our priests abroad, or churches in other parts of the Anglican Communion, in America and Canada and New Zealand and other places, where actually they've put women bishops in place, and it's all working out. Even though there are still some parishes that find it difficult, it's still working out for them because they're learning to trust each other.
So I'm at Campion-Spall, and I'm a curate in Southwark Diocese, and I've been involved with GRAS for about 5 or 6 years. And as you probably know, GRAS was set up in response to the Act of Synod. It's the group to rescind the Act of Synod because people quickly realised that these measures, which were rushed in after the measure for the ordination of women priests, were becoming divisive and were not the pastoral measures that had been proposed. So GRAS has been campaigning for the Act of Synod to be rescinded, and at the moment what we're doing is working with Watch and with others to campaign for the women bishops legislation, not to perpetuate any of the things that have been causing problems from the Act of Synod.
Well, the price is pretty well all women clergy in the Church of England are still having to live with the fact that the church which ordained them is prepared to say, but we're not quite sure. Being a priest is part of your identity. It's part of who you are. It isn't something you put on just for a job, the day when you're doing the job. And so actually, there is this sense that the church doesn't really quite value us 100%. I think if you went into a large number of churches, the question they ask isn't, are you making more space for opponents, but why are you bothering about it? See, I've spoken to quite a lot of people over the last few years about, as the debate about women has continued to work through, and they were on General Synod, and they said, well, yeah, I voted for the Act of Synod. I thought it was the right thing to do at the time, but now I realise it was wrong, it was a mistake, I shouldn't have done it. Okay, I get quite worried, almost concerned, when people say, I'm glad it's a woman taking my wedding or taking my funeral. I rather hoped it would be a woman, because the men do a good job as well. And I make a real point in the church where I'm a vicar, because the curate the assistant priest is also a woman, that if we have an ordained man there preaching, I invite him to celebrate, so that the congregation continues to experience